Hey all, welcome back. Or I guess I should say welcome back to me because I have not been filming floss tubes this year. But I'm back. I'm back for an end of the year WIP and Finish Parade. We're going to do it all in one. For those of you who may have just stumbled upon this video, I am Erin, the two Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram. Although I have not been active really in either place this past year, but I'm hoping that's going to change this coming year. I think I'm going to be a little more active on the social media this year and see how that goes. But I'm here for an end of the year WIP parade. I did one end of last year, maybe at the very beginning. It might have been the first week of January of 2022. And I just thought it'd be good to come back. I have been stitching. I've been stitching a lot. I've picked up knitting a little more actively this year. So let me know if you're interested in me doing maybe a short little video on my knits from this year and what I'm working on. But I won't do that in this video because it is going to be plenty long enough. I started the year with 87 WIPs. And I haven't done the math, but it's less than that this year. This is the first year since I picked up stitching again in 2019, like full time. Like I had dabbled and stitched a little here and there, but in 2019 it became a passion hobby. And this is the first year since then that I've actually had fewer WIPs at the end of the year than the start of the year. That was very much on purpose. I have big plans to WIP down over the next couple of years leading up to my 50th birthday. I don't really have a problem getting older, but I'm 47 now. And so my goal after watching Jen Lee WIP down the year prior before her big birthday, and then this year start 222 things. It was inspiring. I'm not going to start 222 things, but I am going to try to get under 50 WIPs before my 50th birthday. As I said, I'm 47. I'll turn 48 in March. So I have just a little over 2 years to get down under 50, and that's going to take a little bit of concerted effort. But let's start by showing you everything that I currently have. Last year, I showed all my WIPs in the chronological order that I started them. And I figured I'd just do the same thing this year. And if it was a finish, I'm going to show you the finish. Since I didn't do regular floss tube updates this year, I thought you haven't seen any things that I finished. So I'm just going to slot those in. So we're going to go through all the WIPs I had at the beginning of the year, show them either as still a WIP or a finish, and then I'll show you everything I started as well this year and as either a WIP or a finish. Are you ready? Settle in, maybe get something to drink. I have a feeling this is going to be long. Last year I had to upload it in 2 parts. This may be a 2-parter as well. We'll have to see. We'll see how it goes. I have water today, because if I had a cocktail, there's no way I would get through all of these projects. So yeah, let's go. Let me see. I might need reading glasses to read. I printed out my spreadsheet. If you've been around here before, you know I love me a spreadsheet. So I will probably tell you what fabric and floss and everything all the projects are on, but if I miss any or forget any, I will link this WIP spreadsheet with all the details of all of my WIPs, 2022 WIPs. I'll put that in the description box below, so you can go check that out. All right, now let's get going. The very first project was Friends Collage. I can't remember the designer. It was an Etsy designer. I don't know if it's still available. I started this in May of 2019, and I did finish it this year. I not only finished it, I fully finished it. I know, miracle of miracles, but here it is, all fully finished. It's super tight. I did this framing myself, so I know that it's really tight in here, but I don't care. A 10 by 10 frame would have been too big, and I wasn't going to have this custom frame, but here is my finish of Friends collage. I made a few changes. I did this say smelly cat? I can't remember. I made a few changes here and there, but not a lot. Yeah, this originally was charged to say oh my god, and then it said something else. Oh, I think there might have been dice over here. Oh, over here. And so I put the words oh my god over there, but there it is. Finished. My oldest WIP was finished this year. Really fun. This sits in my craft room. I really like it. I finished that by doing it like 25/7. So I worked on that for like 25 minutes every day until it was done. And I finished it in June. Finished that one in June. Okay, next up is a WIP. This is now my oldest WIP, and I will be finishing it this coming year. I pinky promise swear for real this time. And this is a Christmas wish list by Silver Creek Samplers. And I am stitching this on, I think it's a picture of this plus Ada 16 or 18 count. And with called for DMC, and this is where I am. I don't think I worked on this. This probably looks the same as it did last year. So I'm pretty far on it. And if I just focus on it, I'm pretty sure this is on my plans for next year. If I have time at the end, I'll talk about plans for next year. One of my plans for next year, though, is to perhaps start doing some short floss tube videos again in a vlog style. So you can let me know in the comments if that's something that would be interesting to you. When I had a membership on the channel, I would do quick little vlogs like every other day or so to just show what I had worked on the past couple days, and then compile it all together and upload it like once a week, once every 10 days. So I was thinking about just doing that as floss tubes this year, but let me know if you would be interested in that. They would be very low key. Like I would prop my phone up on my computer, just show the progress and move on. So let me know if that's interesting to you. You won't hurt my feelings at all if you're like, no, please don't upload that kind of content. If you're only interested in like this kind of, not produced, but more formal floss tube, let me know that too. That's totally fine. But if there are enough people that are interested in quick little vlogs to just show progress over a couple days, I might do that. Anyhow, but this is where I am on Christmas wish list. So, which I think is probably the same as it looked last year. The next project I showed last year was Quaker Geometric Puzzle, which I UFO'd this year. I was stitching that. It's an ink circles chart. I was stitching it with called for DMC on some type of an even weave, and I was fairly far in the chart, not quite a quarter of the way done, but I just didn't like that fabric. That was my first foray into linen or even weave, and although there are some even weaves that I do like stitching on, although I tend to prefer linen or Ada, that even weave I just didn't. It just wasn't enjoyable, and it's a big piece. So I might restart that later, but for now it's UFO'd. You'll see later I started it. When I made that decision, I picked up I started a new ink circles piece instead. Okay, next one is hands-on design, knee high. And this is on 16 or 18 count Ada that I tea coffee dyed myself. And I'm stitching this with, I believe, mostly called for colors. I might have swapped out that green. And here is where I am. I did work on this a tiny little bit when we went to Michigan this summer, but I was just, I think I finished out this portion and worked some more on the stripes. So there we go. So that's the progress on knee high. Next up, I have to get my reading glasses to see that one. It's something that I UFO'd. Oh, Holiday Quaker. Holiday Quaker by Lila Studio. I still have it kitted up. It's not an active WIP. I set it aside. It's a large piece, and I decided that I just didn't want to put the time into it right now into such a large piece that is seasonal, that would only be up for like a month. So I may unshelve it at some point later on down the road, but for now it's in UFO status. I did UFO 5 or 6 pieces this year, so which is a lot for me. Normally if I start something, by gosh darn, I'm going to finish it, but there were a few this year that I just decided I wasn't. Next up is Meow Block by Hands On Design. I am stitching this on, I think this is like a platinum linen. It's just a Zweigart linen. I think it's platinum. It might be flax with called for colors, and this is where I am. I'm sure that this looks the same as it did last year. This is just not a high priority WIP for me. At some point I will finish this and give it to my daughter Sarah, who loves cats. She took our family cat, but really he was hers, with her when she moved into an off-campus apartment this year. She's the cat girl in the house. So there is Meow Block. I'm not sure that this will get any work this year either, to be honest. This might be a finish in 2024. We'll see. But I don't think it's on the plans for this year. I started that in June of 2019. I'll let you know when we get to non-2019 WIPs. I still have a few. I finished a fair few, but I still have more than a handful of WIPs from 2019. Next up is Midnight Watch by Blackbird Designs. I am stitching this on, I know I have it, 32 count Winter's Brew in mostly called for colors. I think I switched out the black to have it be a blacker black cat like our cat Leo. This did get some love this year. I worked more in the moon. That's a big old moon, and the roof line. There is Midnight Watch. I'm pretty sure that this is slated to get, most of my 2019 WIPs are slotted into my WIP Go plans for next year. This year I did better on WIP Go than I have in the past. And next year, WIP Go is going to be the vast majority of my stitching. So I'm committing to WIP Go this coming year. All right. Next was a finish. This is Sophia by Summer House Stitchworks. I stitched it on a 32 count Lugana with called for DMC. This was a false start. This is not fully finished, but there's Sophia. All done. So pretty. So that's fun. I think that I'm going to do, I have a journal that I have not started putting things in, but at some point I will start putting things in the journal. Next one up is another finish. Look, I finally finished playing with jacks. Those of you who have been around for a long time probably remember this piece, but I got this out and finished it this year. I made a few modifications. I did the forest pumpkin, which was charted by, this is Cricket Collection. They charted an alternate pumpkin in the middle. You could do this as a jack-o'-lantern or as this forest pumpkin. I did the forest pumpkin, and then I used the same silken color for the leaves along the borders, and I turned all of these were like an acorn, a leaf, an acorn, a leaf. I turned them all into acorns. So there is playing with jacks, all done. Love it. And this was stitched with all called for DMC, and it was on, this is a picture of this plus, I can't remember the name. It's in the description box. It's on the spreadsheet. I can't remember the name. Nope, not coming to me. Okay. Next up is Game of Swans by Long Dog. This is the very first Long Dog I ever started. I'm stitching this on a 36 count 36 count linen. I can't remember. It's a Zweigart color, like just a standard Zweigart color. It's not an overdyed, but I can't, do I have the tag? Nope, I can't remember. It'll be in the description box. And here is where it is. I am not sure that I worked on this at all this year. I am stitching this in the Called For Gentle Arts. And the Gentle Art Called For looks different than the mock-up on the front. I think the mock-up on the front is the DMC conversion, which is slightly different. But I love how this looks. And this will get some love this coming year in 2023. 2023. Wild. Are the rest of you as dumbfounded as I am that it's going to be 2023 in like 2 days? I am filming this on Thursday, December 28th. So that's when this is being filmed. I guess I should say that for posterity. Yeah, a couple days and it's going to be 2023. All right, next up is Penny Autumn, which was also a finish. Here it is. Penny Autumn by Plum Street. And I stitched this on, I think this was flax. 36 count. 1/2 with Called For colors. There she is, so pretty. I don't really do resolutions, but one of my goals this year is to send some things out for finishing work because I don't really care for finishing. I can do it, but I would rather spend my time other ways. So that is one of my goals this year is I have some things that should be sent out for finishing, and I am going to do that. All right. Next up is another Plum Street Cinnamon Stars. And I am stitching this on 36 count Old Town Blend by R&R with Called For colors. Not sure if I worked on this year. I feel like maybe I did. But then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking maybe I didn't. I know this is on my WIP Go board. I have 2 WIP Go boards for this year coming up. I have one with large pieces on it. I have maybe 14 or 15 large pieces. I picked 12 and they each got 2 spots. And then I have a medium, a WIP Go board for my medium charts as well. And those are gonna be my focus pieces each month. I'm excited to get started on Monday. Next up is Turkey Bay. You can see I went on a little bit of a Plum Street sampler kick. Haven't quite got off it. I love Plum Street samplers. So this is Turkey Bay by Plum Street Samplers. And I am stitching this on just white linen. White linen with Called For colors. Whoop, here we go. And I didn't iron anything. It would have taken me 2 days to iron all this stuff. So you get to see it as is, but there is where I am on Turkey Bay. Not sure I worked on that this year either. This is probably one of the first years that I didn't touch every single thing, every single WIP, but I did focus on some pieces and get some big things finished. So my next one is Prairie Moon Martini Witches. This did get a little bit of love right around Halloween. I started this on Halloween in 2019 and I pull it out and work on it on Halloween. So, and this is 32 count Stormy Night Belfast linen. I actually really like, they're printed. So the modeling is printed on the front, but I really love these. Like, there's a Stormy Night, there's a smoky, vintage smoky white, I think. I really like those linens. But there is my progress. I got one Martini Witch. I got one witch done this year and started on the table, and now I gotta do her little companion. Gotta do her companion, and I am stitching those in the Called For silks. So it calls for MPI and maybe some Belle Soie, I think, but I am stitching those in the Called For silks. Okay, then we have Dog's Declaration. Oh, wait. Nope. little one slipped down there. We have Holly and Hearts, which was a mystery sampler by Lizzie Kate years ago. I bought this as like a complete kit from Stash Unload. I think that you can still get these on 1, 2, 3 stitch. You have to buy the 3 parts, but it comes with, I think, little charms and such. So this was kitted up as called for, and I've been stitching it as called for. I think I worked on this year. So am I completely done? I think I might, I think I have some bottom border. I think I need to bring these borders down and across, and then I'll be done with the first part. So it goes long ways. And this is Picture This Plus. It's a 32 count. I'm stitching it with 2 strands. I can't remember. Might be ale. Might be, I don't know. It's whatever is called for. So that is Holly and Hearts. Then that brings us to Dog's Declaration. I love this piece, and I'm not sure I worked on it at all this year. It's gonna get some love next year. This is Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Squirrels. It's my little guy, my little happy boy. He does live for the pursuit of squirrels and bunny rabbits and sometimes deer that he scares out of our yard. Okay, I'm stitching this on a large piece of Lakeside linen in, I think, bisque, which I got off on Stash Unload back in like 2019. This huge piece for a steal. I don't even think I knew what I bought at the time, and now I do. Now I do. This was back when Lakeside linen wasn't as hard to come by, but still. I'm stitching this in the called for Valdani threads, and this is where I am. I changed this little doggy to look like our Happy, with like he's a little tuxedo dog with 1 ear up and 1 ear down and a floofy tail. So I made him look like Happy, and I'll do the rest as charted. But that's where I am. And yeah, this one's going to take a long time, especially at the rate I am stitching it. But hopefully it will get some good work in on it this year. Okay. Another one that I know is on my WIP go for next year is Emily's House by Lindy Stitches. And I am stitching this on 36 count. Do I have the tag in here? Yes. 36 count Drapple Brown. I think that might be an Extru design. Where's the top? Okay, here we are. And here is where I am. I have the border all done. I need to put all the flowers in, and I've started on that big house. And I apparently have a needle in there with thread. But there is my starting point. I don't think that this got pulled out at all this year. So I'm pretty sure that's what it looked like last year. But this is going to get some work and some love this coming year. I adore this piece. I adore this piece. I know exactly where it's going to hang in my house when it's finished, which is why I should get it finished. You know, those projects that you can just like picture them, you know where they're going to go. Mostly I'm a process stitcher, but there are some that I know where they're going to be. Okay. This is the last of my WIPs from 2019, and it is Cottage Gardens Peace on Earth. I am stitching this on, let's see if I have the tag. Nope, not totally sure what I'm stitching this on. I don't know. It's on the spreadsheet, and this is where I am. I'm stitching it in called for colors. I think I might have switched out the white. I'm sorry, the light in here, it's all ring light. It's early afternoon, but it's early afternoon in Seattle in December. So it's super gray. So the light's not great. I've started the snow down here. Oh, there you go. You can see it in person. I pretty sure I switched this to B5200, maybe. Nope, I'm using chalk. I am, but I am doubling the top leg so that it shows up a little better. I had tried this up here is in sulky white, and although you can see it, I didn't like how it laid as much on this fabric. I love sulky, just it wasn't working as well on this fabric. So this is Peace on Earth. I didn't get it out this holiday season, but it'll come out. This is on the WIP Go board for next year, so it will come out next year. I don't know if I'll get it done in a finish in like the number of days I will have slotted for it, but that would be great. Okay, so that brings us to 2020, and my 2020 New Year New Start is was Farewell to Anger. And I have worked on this a lot this year, not as much as I wanted. I had originally wanted to do the 22,000 in 22. I haven't looked at my spreadsheet to see how many stitches I actually did. I'm not going to take it out of the Q-snap. Here's where it is. There is a lot more stitching. You can see that is wrapped up around here. I took a picture of this the last time it was out of the Q-snap. So I've done this since it was out of the Q-snap, but I will put a picture in here. That's what it looked like when it was out of the Q-snap last. This I have plans to work on every weekend. This will be my Saturday and Sunday stitch, my weekend stitch in 2023. I did some math, which maybe I shouldn't have done. I would love to have this finished by the end of 2030, which I know you're like, of course you can, Erin. I would have to do 72 stitches a day, every day, for the next 8 years for that to happen. So if I can get, but in a good night of stitching, I can get 200, 250 stitches, no problem. So if I can do 500 stitches each weekend on this, that should keep me about on pace. So that is the goal for Farewell to Anger. I'll show you what, I'll show you the cover. There we go. That's what that's going to look like. It's a Heaven and Earth. This is just the regular chart, regular number of colors. It's not max color. It's not supersized. This is just the regular chart of Farewell to Anger. My baby. I love it. And someday I will finish it. I will. I have faith. I have faith in me. Okay. My next WIP was Crosses of the Kingdom, which if you've been around for a long time, you know that I was stitching for my parents for their 50th wedding anniversary, which was in August. So I finished this in March. I finished it in March. I sent it off for framing. Unfortunately, the framer has been so backed up that they've just now started working on it. That's a bummer. So my parents have not received it yet, but they have seen it. And I will put a picture in here of what it looked like when I finished it. Hey! So that was Crosses of the Kingdom by Rosewood Manor. I did a little bit, you can see I took out a cross and did a little bit of personalization for their 50th anniversary. It says 50 years and their wedding date. And I stitched that in Anchor Black and Petite Treasure Braid PB40. And I'm very excited for them to have it and hanging it on their wall. Okay, so that was Crosses of the Kingdom, which was a large piece. I did that as like a 25/7 piece, and to get that one finished, and it was a labor of love. It was a labor of love. It's not my style. It's beautiful. It came out, it really is stunning in person. I mean, not my stitching. I mean, the stitching's fine, but the design of it, it's going to look beautiful framed, but that was a labor of love. Only for my parents for their 50th. Okay, next up is Cardinal Points. Cardinal Points, I started this on Leap Day in 2020 with the goal of finishing this by Leap Day 2024. I need to get moving. I worked on this a little bit this year, but not much. And several people started this with me, and I think most of them have finished it. I know Helen did, Helen D did, somebody else, but this is where I am. I'm like a quarter of the way done. This is going to be a focus piece for me this coming year. I mean, it has to be if I'm going to get it done by Leap Day 2024. I love this. I'm doing this on a white even weave. This white even weave, I like stitching on, as opposed to the even weave that Quaker Geometric Puzzle was on. So I'm stitching this on white even weave, 1 strand over 2 with all the called for gentle arch threads that are just stunning. So there is Cardinal Points. It is on my WIP Go board, as well as it will be a 25/7 piece. I have one other piece that is going to be my 25/7 this coming year, starting in January. And then as soon as that is finished, this is going to move into that. And it would be excellent if this was a finish this year, but if not, it needs to be super, super close before January of next year. Okay. Then I had a birthday start in 2020, and I started Duke Clover by Al Forst Embroidery. You can see I like cut this off. I bought the kit and I cut that off the top. I did switch out the fabric. The one fabric that was in there didn't have as much margin. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I hope that didn't set any of your dogs off. We had a delivery, and Happy felt the need to let me know that there were strangers on our porch. All right, Duke Clover is where we were. I switched the fabric out from the kit fabric only because it was a little tighter margin than I would like, and I had this piece, I think this is flax. It came with a Zweigart cream linen, but I am using all of the Al Forst embroidery flosses, and this is where I am. This could potentially be a finish this year. There is a motif down here that has a whole bunch of lazy daisies that I will need to maybe work on my lazy daisy technique a little bit before I do, but these flosses are lovely. Are lovely. I love it. I'm a March baby, and I'm Irish, so Duke Clover seemed fitting. And yeah. Next up is Book House, which is a finish. Yay, I finished Book House. So this is by Stone Street Stitchworks, I believe. I did this on a piece of, I think it's 18 count, Vintage Country Mocha Ada. So you can see it's printed. So the back is plain and the front is printed. And I did this, I think it mostly called for DMC. I might have swapped a few things out. When did I start this? End of March 2020. So at that point, it wasn't going out anywhere. So I was using what I had available to me. But pretty little finish. I very well might give that to my oldest daughter, Sarah. She's quite the reader. She's quite the reader. Loves books. I love books, but nothing like Sarah loves books. Okay, then we have Seeking Refuge by the Scarlet House. Seeking Refuge. This was, I think that this was a Nashville release that year, and was quite a hit. It's quite a hit with all the stitchers. I started as well. I am stitching this on, I think, oh, here we go. Stars Hollow, 36 count Stars Hollow blend. I feel like I did work on this year. Honestly, the first half of the year is a bit of a blur. Aren't they all? But once I fill in this bottom border, I think I'm a third of the way done, and I started in on the house. So I figured strand of bottom border fill in, strand of house. So yeah, so there's there's where I am on Seeking Refuge. This is another one that I would just love to see up on my wall. And I'm stitching this, I believe, in all called for, except the black might be anchor black. Not sure what it calls for, but close. I'm pretty sure that's all called for, with the exception of maybe the black. Okay, what do we have next? Next up is The Light. I think that this was a freebie by Barbara Anna. I think that this might be what she released for like the Be Well that year. And here's where I am. This is on a piece of 36 count mystery linen. I don't know. I think it might be a Victorian Motto linen, but I'm not totally sure. And I'm stitching that with the called for DMC. And this should be a finish this year, I feel like. I just have her dress. I mean, it's a lot of dress, but I just have her dress left. And I got to put the light in the lantern. But that's The Light by Barbara Anna. I'm not sure if I worked on that this year. I think I did. At the beginning of the year, I was definitely working on things on their WIP birthday. And then the summer got really busy, and then we did marathon again this fall. And so I spent like 2 months working pretty monotonously on Farewell to Anger. But at the beginning of the year, most of these were getting good progress. Okay, next up is StarSpangled. This one I was stitching 25/7 up until this month. I think I started in the fall and worked on it pretty consistently. This month I kind of did a finished snowball. Like I was just working on things that were close to a finish to see how many finishes I could get. But this will become my 25/7 piece again in January. This is StarSpangled by Lindy Stitches. It's in a little bendy flip. I'm using mostly called for colors. I know it's kind of a mess, but it works. It's fine. So there's DMC and some over dyes. I'm stitching this on a 36 count linen by Hand Dyed by Stephanie and Frozen Fractals. And this is where I am. So this is really good progress from last year. And my goal is to have this finished in time for my anniversary in April, because it'll be 25 years. 25 years in April. And so I want to have this finished by then, and I should be able to. If I keep at it 25/7, this should be finished. I'd love to have this finished and framed and hung up in our bedroom. But there we go. Those granny squares are so fun. They're so fun to stitch, and Lindy Stitches, Stephanie does the best birds. The best birds. So that is StarSpangled. Then we have a biggie. I know I worked on this year, but probably not that much. This is And a Forest Grew by Rosewood Manor. And I am stitching this on Soft Ivory, which I think is just a Zweigart. I think it's one of their bases, Soft Ivory, with all the called for DMC. And here is where I am on And a Forest Grew. Started this on Arbor Day 2020. We started on Arbor Day, and this is a lifelong. This is a before I die project. You know, there's a lot more trees to go. Each of these little trees, it's a lot of color changing, but it is amazing. All the little trees. I love this one. Love this one so much. I am going to rechart the quote in the middle. That is definitely a future Erin. That is a future Erin problem. All right. Then we get into all of 2020 was the first year that I did a Mayhem in March and started, I think I started 20 projects that year in March. The first of which was Metamorphosis by Ink Circles. And I'm stitching this on a Stitch Me. It's 32 count, but it doesn't have a name. So I feel like I must have purchased this in a Friday night fight night. And here's where I am. I have 3 done, 4 to go. And I am stitching this in this beautiful fade. It's really kind of a fade from pinks to purples to really dark purples to gray that my friend Annie put together and sent me out of her stash. So it's beautiful. I love it. It looks gorgeous on this fabric. And I love ink circles. Tracy's a genius. I mean, the way that this goes, you know, it changes from one motif all the way to a Quaker. I just love how she takes science-y things or I guess nerdy things. I don't think that she'd mind if I said they're nerdy things and turns them into beautiful art. She's a genius. Okay. Next one was a finish. This is Youre Okay by Bendy Stitchy Designs. As chart, it says Youre Okay, I guess. Like kind of like a snarky, you're okay, I guess. You know. But I just put my initials and the date in there this year because this is my reminder that you're okay. No matter what's happening, you're okay. So I need to get this. I need to get this framed and up in my office. Yeah, I love it. It's beautiful. It's probably it's one of her older designs, but still one of my favorites. One of my favorites. Look at those birds and the heart, Proctor heart. Amazing. Amazing. And then we have Primitive Tarot Needle Book by Wild Violet Cross Stitch. So this is the front, and then this is like the inside of the needle book. Like it's like a needle roll book. And this is on a piece of Aida that it was white, I tea coffee dyed it, baked the heck out of it, made it look old and crusty, and I love it. And I'm probably halfway done. This is a really great stitch. When I pull this out, this is so fun to stitch. I'm stitching it with Blackbird, one strand of Blackbird. I'm pretty sure this was like an 18 count Aida. The one strand looks great. And then, so I'll have this here, and then there is a little bit of like stitching and like outlining you have to do for the outside. And then I will put on my big girl panties and fully finish it myself because she has really great instructions. There we go. Primitive Tarot Notions and Needle Book by Wild Violet Cross Stitch. Fantastic. Okay. My next start that year in 2020, I UFO'd this year, StarSpangled Spectacular. I was doing it 1/1 on 28 count, and I just didn't like it. I feel like I was 3/4 done with it too. A friend of mine is gonna, when I see her in the spring, is gonna take it and finish it. Not for me, like she can have it. She can have it and finish it. I just couldn't anymore. It turns out I do not like the 1/1 stitching on 28 count. I stitch in hand 99% of the time. You saw Farewell to Anger was on a Q-snap, and I do that. That is on a 25 count. I didn't say at the time, it's on a 25 count pre-gridded Lugana, and I do that 1/1 full cross, and I don't mind it there. But normally I stitch in hand. I typically use the sewing method, and that 1/1, it killed me. It killed me. Big ups to you that do a lot of 1/1. All right, but the next one, I can get it right up, is Heartstring Samplery Whip It Good. This was the first of this series that she did, and I want to do them all, but I'm still on the first one. This is on a 16 count Aida, 18 count Aida. Let me see, Bybee Stitch Me. It's an 18 count maroon. I don't know if that's one of her regular colors, or I think I got this in a Friday night fight night on her Facebook group. But I'm stitching this with one strand of Sulky, and that's where I am. This could potentially be a finish this year. Yeah. Whip It Good. Oh, I love this fabric. I want to do all of them on like brightly saturated color, not necessarily bright, but saturated color fabrics with the one strand of sulky. Beth Twist, another genius. There are just so many good designers, and they're all, that is not my gift. Not my gift. And so I'm always amazed. I'm amazed at the brilliance of the designers. Okay. Next start was Summer at Cherry Hill by Brenda Gervais. Summer at Cherry Hill. And I am stitching this on a 36 count. Pretty sure it's 36. That's kind of my favorite. It's my go-to. It's 36 count with one strand. Cherry Pit Brown by R&R with called for colors, except that this like red, I think is called for Chili Pepper, and I switched it out for Briar Rose to kind of go with the fabric, but I love this fabric. So here it is. This is where I am on Summer at Cherry Hill. We had a cherry tree. When I started this, we had a cherry tree out front that I just loved. The birds would get it every year. They would figure out that the cherries were ripe before we did and eat them off the tree. It's fine. And then in a windstorm, it blew down and could not be recovered. Sad. But Summer at Cherry Hill. All right. How are we doing? I feel like we're doing okay. My next start for Mayhem that year was Needles Dance, which was a collab between Ink Circles, Hands-On Design, and Summer House Stitch Works, I think. And I finished it this year. There it is. I feel like my light is fading on me, but what are we going to do? We have to go with it. I feel like this isn't showing up all that great. This is on a 32 count. I used all the called for colors, but I did change out this. I think was supposed to be the hazelnut, and I changed it out for the pink. So this is Summer Breeze, I think, by, I'm not sure. Hand dyed by Stephanie, maybe. But there we go. There is Needles Dance. Looks amazing. I need to get this framed and up. The colors aren't really showing as well, I think, in our terrible light. All right, the next start was Letters from Mom by Jeanette Douglas. I also UFO'd that this year. I just realized that I was not going to stitch that 3 times. That was originally my plan, was to stitch it once for each of my 3 girls and do it in the little envelope so they could put letters for me in. You know, I don't know that they would appreciate it. They all appreciate the things I either knit or stitch for them, but the work it would have been to do it 3 times, and the thought of stitching the same thing 3 times, and honestly, we just send each other funny TikToks. I know I should probably handwrite them letters, but at this stage it's just not where we are. So I UFO'd Letters from Mom this year. It's a beautiful chart though by Jeanette Douglas. Go check it out. Then I had, oh wait, this isn't the next one. Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. Got lost on my spreadsheet for a minute. All right, this is Heartstring Samplery, Cross Stitch Nation. I'm stitching this on a Mystery Even Weave. I bought this, I'm pretty sure, from Stash Unload that year. So I have no idea. There was no tag on it. I think it's a 36 count. It's either a 32 or a 36. I'm stitching with 1 strand of called for floss. And that's how far I am. I'm going to change some of their skin tones. This is as far as I've gotten on Cross Stitch Nation. I think I pretty much only ever pull this out in May. But at some point I will get a hair that it needs to get finished, and I will. This one is Welcome Foolish Mortals by the Witchy Stitcher. So good. I love Disneyland. This is my favorite ride. Haunted Mansion, favorite ride, hands down. This is on a 16 count Ada. by Picture This Plus in the colorway Phantom. I am stitching it with black Etoile. And I have some glow in the dark for the eyes. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Let's try to get better, maybe there, better light. There we go. Why did I place it on the fabric like this? I had a reason at the time, and I don't know what it is. I should have written myself a note. I have no idea why I placed it on the fabric like that. Right, it's smack dab in the middle. No idea. No idea. I think I'm going to end up wasting a lot of that fabric. That's okay. I think that's the called for fabric. I believe that is the called for fabric. Okay. Oh, next is Olga by Plum Street Samplers. And Olga was a finish this year. I just finished it this month. It was one of my snowball finishes. So here's Olga. This is on 36 count linen by Color and Cotton in the colorway Sea Salt. So it's kind of this like greenish, it's got like a greenish cast to it. It's fantastic. I just look at his little face. Look at that grumpy little cat. I love him so much. I used all the called for colors. The only thing I did was I actually switched the position of the E and the M and did them in a color that would stand out a little bit more for my initials. So there we go. Olga. And I'm going to frame this myself. I just need to go get a frame. It'll fit in an 8x8 frame and get that all framed up. There's one or two companion pieces to this that I would love to do sometime in the future. Okay. On to Fragments in Time. This is the 2018 series of Fragments in Time by Summer House Stitchworks. So this was celebrating sampler cartouches, and I loved the whole set, and I wanted to stitch all of them. Beth does a freebie border. So this is a freebie you can get from maybe on her website, Facebook group, somewhere. Each year for these Fragments in Time, she does a free border if you want to do them all together on one piece, which is what I am doing. I think I'm using all the called for colors. I maybe switched out, I think I switched Toffee for Queen Bee because I just wanted something a little brighter. And I'm stitching this on something 36 count, some type of R&R, but I don't know what color. And this is how far I am. I have one completely done, and then I've moved down to this one. So this is on my WIP Go board. I would love to get some major progress on this year. I don't know that I will get finished. I loved this year's Fragments in Time, the 2022. I've bought them all, and it will be, as soon as I finish this, I'm going to start 2022. So there we go. That is Fragments in Time. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I say as soon as I finish it, I will start 2022. If I manage to get under 50 WIPs by my 50th birthday, I am going to start 50 projects the year of my 50th, which will be 2025. So likely all these things I say I'm going to start, most of them, I'm not saying no new starts because that's unreasonable, but anything large like that, I will probably wait until that year. Okay, this is Weatherwise by the Prairie Schooler. Everything's kind of hung up a little bit. Weatherwise by the Prairie Schooler, and I am stitching this on an even weave. Looking at it going an even weave. Vintage Stormy Night Lugana, 32 count. 32 count Vintage Stormy Night, and I am using the color conversion that Helen D. East Coast Crafter did. when I saw her stitching this piece. I think I saw her floss tube right when she finished it. And I loved it. She posted this conversion on her Instagram. It's probably still there. You'll have to scroll way back, but you can find it. These are her colors, and I am stitching it with her conversion. And this is where I am. I just love that. I think this is my only Prairie Schooler, which is some type of crime. I think it's a crime against cross stitching, probably, that this is my only Prairie Schooler. And I have a bunch more in stash, and someday I will stitch many, many more of them. Okay, and that was the last of the 2020 Stitch Mayhem starts. And then next up is A Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Lindy Stitches. Fantastic chart. And I am stitching this on, have a needle sticking out. Try not to poke myself. I am stitching this on, I want to say it's like weathered shingle, maybe. Did I write it down or put it? Oh, here it is. Oh, Vintage Gray. Vintage Gray by R&R. With the called for colors, I'm pretty sure. There might be like 1 or 2 substitutions, just like something close that I have in stash. I think maybe one of these colors is a color in cotton, but it's true to the design. And that's where I am. I love her sweet face. And I now get to stitch that amazing dress. So there is A Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Lindy Stitches. And I don't know if that's on my WIP Go board. It should be. If it's not this year, it probably will be next year. All right. Next is Sing a Sampler. I know this is on my WIP Go board. I love this piece so much. Every time I get it out, it is a joy to stitch. This is by Silver Creek Samplers, and it is, oh, I left myself notes. The fabric is Vintage Stormy Night. Oh, Vintage Smoky White. Vintage Smoky White. These are the charts. They're sold in, it's a set of 4 charts. So, and you can do them individually as ornaments, or it has, when you know the notes to sing, you can sing with anything along. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And I am stitching it in 2 rows of 4 with the phrase above and below. And a total color conversion. I know I've talked about this in the past. This is inspired by Jan Hicks, and she has her website, Mad for Yarn. I'm pretty sure it's Mad for Yarn. Look up Jan Hicks. She has on her website a page for color conversions, and this is on here. It was inspired by a friend of hers, and then she did a riff on it, and that was my jumping off point. This is really, I couldn't even tell you. Just go look at hers. These are the colors for my border, for my borders, and then and words, and then the rest of it, seriously, you'd be horrified. I literally just pull colors from my stash that I think will work as I go. They're in here in a jumble. Shh. It's fine. It's fine. But I love this piece. I adore it. It's so much fun to stitch. And oh gosh, I'd love to have this finished this year. Here I am. I'm on mi. There's do, re, and mi. So I'll do do, re, mi, fa, and then sol, la, ti, do. And then it'll say, when you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. Love it. We always watch Sound of Music with my grandmother. I think it was on at Thanksgiving. It was on at Thanksgiving or Christmas. You know, back in the day when there was no streaming. Now you can stream it anytime you want. Lucky kids. But there is Sing a Sampler. That's on my WIP Go board this year, and oh, it's so much fun to stitch. y'all. So fun. Okay, next up is Autumn Chalk Talk, which I really thought was going to be a finish. I will finish it today. When I'm done filming here, I'm going to sit down and it will be a finish today. This is it. Autumn Chalk Talk by Hands On Design. I have the other 3 seasons. I'm going to stitch all 3. Called for colors. I'm doing this on a 16 count Ada from Be Stitch Me in, I think she calls it Dirty Chalkboard. Dirty Chalkboard. I got like half a yard so I could do them all. Here's Autumn. See how close I am? I have patch, 3 leaves, and then like the little Smyrna crosses. This will be done tonight. You will not see this next year. Actually, you probably will because look, I already started winter. It will still be attached. Maybe I'll show it next year, but this is going to be a 2022 finish. Today that will be finished. So, Autumn Chalk Talk. I have so many of Kathy's designs. So fun. Okay. Getting quite a pile over here. We're going to have to take a break in a hot minute so that I can clean up this mess and get out the next tote. But not quite. Next is Tree of Magic. This is most of the design. This was a kit. It's Barbara Anna exclusive to Nitka Moscow, and you can only buy it as a kit from Nitka Moscow. So I am stitching it with the kit fabric and all the flosses, which are DMC. And this is where I am on Tree of Magic. This is on my WIP Go board. I would love to have this finished this year. It's just Barbara Anna. Another designer that I could stitch all the designs, except I can't keep up with her. She designs so fast, so amazing. But that is Tree of Magic. That's where I am on Tree of Magic. That could potentially be a finish this year. How many times have I said that already? Are we keeping count? Maybe we should. All right. Next is Like a Cherry Blossom. This is by Stitches Through the Years. Like a Cherry Blossom. This was kind of a different start for me at the time, but I just love the verse on this. I am stitching this on a 36 count linen in Seashell by Extra Designs with mostly the called for flosses. I think I had to make one substitution. It's mostly DMC, and it was just so that it would show up on the fabric. That's all I have so far. It's so pretty though, and it's gonna get some love this year. It's gonna get some love. This is so pretty. The fabric is pretty. I don't know how well it's showing up. It's a beautiful blue, lilac blue. It's more lilac. There we go. Oh, Seattle. I love you so, but you have terrible natural light in December. Okay. That is Like a Cherry Blossom. I gotta put everything back, otherwise it would not, it'd be an unbearable mess. Okay. Next up is another Ink Circles. Again, the genius of Tracy Horner. This is Quaker Genetics. My degree is cell molecular biology. Briefly, I was declared genetics. And this is a Punnett square. If you know, you know, it's a Punnett square. She's so... I love her. Okay, I'm stitching this on a 36 count Be Stitch Me linen in, I think it's called Coffee Club with, mostly called for. This is how far I am. I have 2. I have two on there. This This is so fun to stitch, and I should get it out more. And I think I'm using mostly called for. I'm switching out the little doodads in between. Maybe I have a Color and Cotton in here. It is Color and Cotton Spanish Moss. I think instead of the Otter Creek I couldn't find. And I am using cardamom instead of the buttermilk just because I had it in stash. At the time I couldn't find Otter Creek and I love that green. So, but cherry bark and espresso bean are called for. So that is Quaker Genetics. And that's going to get some love this year. This is going to get some love this year. This coming year. It did not get any love this year. And the last one in this tote, and then we're going to take a little pause, is Touching the Autumn Sky. My only Mirabilia so far. I have other ones kitted up, but this is my only Mirabilia that I have started, Touching the Autumn Sky. And I have been jumping on Pam, Stitching in the Good Enough, does a fancy folk Zoom. I haven't been able to make many of them, but I've made some of them, and that's when I work on Touching the Autumn Sky. So she got some reasonable progress this year. I'm doing this on this beautiful piece of Be Stitch Me linen that as soon as I saw it, this chart jumped to mind. And then a beautiful, wonderful stitcher gifted me the chart. And I know where it's going next. So it has already been spoken for, but this is a beautiful piece of Be Stitch Me linen. I'm stitching all called for DMC, and there is my progress. So I've been working on her jacket and scarf, and then eventually this is all done up here except for the beads, but eventually I'll get to her face. Right now she's a floating arm. There we go. Touching the Autumn Sky. All right, I'm going to pause and pick up everything that I've been throwing on the floor and get out the next tote, and I will be back. It will be just a moment for you, but this would be a great time to pause and go take a potty break or get a drink refill, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, we are reset and ready to keep going. Are y'all feeling ready? Let's do one little quick hydration. All right. Where were we? We had just finished Touching the Autumn Sky, which I started in September of 2020. So that is where we are, September of 2020. And I started a lot of things in 2020. Let's face it. We were all stuck at home, not doing a whole lot. I started a lot of projects in 2020. We do what we can to cope, right? Okay, I started the Blue Flower Color of Winter. Beautiful chart, love this. And it says, the color of springtime is in the flowers, the color of winter is in the imagination. It's very true here. Feels apropos as we head into the dark days. Actually, we passed our darkest day. Now we're getting a little lighter, but very slowly. I'm stitching this on a Lakeside Linen 36 count in Chantilly Cream with called for colors. And this is where I am on Color of Winter. So I'm gonna fold it over. I just have my ring light. I'm hoping it's a little better as it gets darker and darker outside. We'll see. Oh, there we go. That's a good representation of the linen. It's just like a soft, it's like a pinky taupe Chantilly Cream. There we go. That looks really good. And that's how far I am. Whew. Janine McGowan, another genius with color and design, and one to stitch all of her things. Color of Winter. That I know I stitched on that a little bit this year, not a lot, and it's going to get some more love in 23. This is actually one of my January WIP Go calls, since we already know what those numbers are. So this is going to get some work in January. This is the Zimmerman coverlet by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's a bad sign that we're not halfway through and I'm already losing the ability to speak. Modern Folk Embroidery. This was designed from a heirloom coverlet that belongs to Ellen Reed. Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. Genius, wonderful, amazing, hilarious human being that she is. And I am stitching this it's charted. This is what you get as charted. And then it repeats. So it's 3, you can see it's 3 repeats. I am stitching this as a drum. I think it's gonna work. It better. I did a lot of math. There's math involved. This motif is the top of the drum, and then I'm going to do this entire border that will be the side of the drum. And that's how I'm going to do the Zimmerman coverlet. It's going to be a huge drum. It's going to be the drum the size of your head, and I am stitching it in this gorgeous Gloriana silk in rosewood on Color and Cotton. It doesn't have a name. It's the August 2020 fabric. I'm in the fabric club. So this was the August 2020, and this is what I have so far. And she's going to get a whole lot more love. So you can see this is going to be the drum, the top here, and then the bottom is going to take the entire length of the piece of fabric. So I've got a lot more stitching to do, but it is a joy to stitch. It is absolute joy to stitch in that Gloriana silk. So pretty. So pretty. And this is gonna get some time. We're gonna get to spend some time together. Yes, we are. Do you ever feel that way? Like they're your friends, your WIPs are your friends, and you get to hang out for a little while and spend some time together? No, just me. Okay. All right. Oh, I missed one. Before the Zimmerman coverlet, I started What a Time to Be Alive by Heartstring Samplery. This was a birthday start with Annie Joyful Stitcher, and I am stitching this on, this has got to be a Be Stitch Me green. Oh, Boot Camp, but my Boot Camp is way more green. This piece of Boot Camp, I don't think if you bought Boot Camp would look like this. I don't know why I think that, because I think I have another piece of Boot Camp that doesn't look like this, but this is, because that's, yeah, whoops. Oh, that's what it looks like. There we go. And I am stitching it with Be Stitch Me silk in the colorway Autumn for the motifs, and then the words, I'm going to use this Mrs. Sadis 07. They go beautifully together. You can't, oh, maybe you can tell. There we go. And then this is where I am. Ooh, hopefully he doesn't bark too much. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm the only one home. Otherwise, other people would be, you know, redirecting him. But that's why this was the perfect day to film this. My whole family went off to go skiing, and I stayed home to be with the dog because it was too last minute to get a dog sitter. And so I thought, perfect timing to film a WIP parade. But this is What a Time to Be Alive. And it is, as usual, with Heartstring Sampler charts. So fun to stitch. This I feel like could definitely be a finish this year. And I love the silks. So pretty. So pretty. She actually charted this in multicolors, and then when she did the model stitch, did it in one, but there is a colorway, like a full color version of this in the chart, which I'm not doing either. I just picked a couple silks to do it in. Okay. That brings us to my next project, which was the very first Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit was in fall of 2020, and it had to be moved to Zoom, of course. But this was one of the projects that we received Gather In by Plum Street Samplers, which now you can purchase it. So you can get this, but I think the cover photo will look different because you can see it says Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit on there. And so we received this as a full kit with Called For Everything, and I started it that weekend. Called For Everything. I think I've worked on it maybe one other time since then, and this is where I am. Gather, W, and some roof line. But I love this. I think it's a beautiful companion to Cinnamon Stars. It has like some kind of, it kind of echoes with the little stars coming out of the chimney. It kind of echoes Cinnamon Stars, and I envision these being hung up next to each other. It's a lot of grass though. It's a lot of grass. It's a lot of roof line. I might be doing those. I'm stitching this. It's a 36 count, and I'm stitching it 1/2, but I think the roof and some of the grass I might satin stitch. The roof I might do 2/1 tent. We'll see. Something to make it go a little faster. Although it's beautiful as charted. Okay, what do we have next? Oh, here we go. Next up, I think I started this on Thanksgiving. Does that day make sense? Yeah, I think I started this on Thanksgiving last year. I don't know why I didn't come back to it this year. This is Lindy Stitch's Autumn Royalty. And I started Prince of Pies. Prince of Pies, this little owl. Look at his face. I make pies for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I make the pies. My kids love requesting different kinds of pie. And I am doing this on, I think this is Lakeside Linen in tarnished silver, maybe? I don't know. And it's big enough for all of the, oh, here we go. Tarnished silver. Oh, goodness. I clearly got it 1, 2, 3 stitch. I took the sticker off and then it stuck to the threads. And I think that I ordered this as a kit with the called for colors from Lindy Stitch's website, maybe? Does that sound right? Probably. It's some overdyed and some DMC. This is where I am. I mean, this should be a finish, right? But I would like to do all 3 of them, and they'll all fit on this piece of fabric. So that's the plan. Plans sometimes take a little longer to execute than you would think. It's fine. It's fine. We're just here for fun. We're just here for fun, for an enjoyable little hobby. Okay. Next up is another Barbara Anna. But not that Barbara Anna. That's a Barbara Anna too. Where did it go? Oh no, this is right. This is right. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Christmas is coming. Barbara Anna Designs. Christmas is coming. I mean, it's a snail with Santa riding it. It's just genius. Okay, I am stitching this on a 36 count linen in sea glass, which I think is also an extrude design. And I'm doing it with the called for DMC. Oh, do I need this big of a piece of fabric? No, this piece is not that big. It makes me too nervous to cut it until it's done. So there you have it. But there's my start. I've got the Santa and the snail done. I just need to do his little village and some things in the sky. There we go. Christmas is coming. I don't think I worked on it this year. Maybe I did. I don't think so though, because I didn't work on it this December, which is when I would have worked on it. All right. Then we have, I started a a handful in 2020. I started a handful of Christmas designs in December. So that's why you're seeing a run of Christmas designs. I started Pomegranate Santa. I love him. I'm not going to do the reindeer though. I'm just doing Santa with his little sleigh. And I'm doing this on 36 count driftwood, which I believe is a color in cotton. And here is where I am on that. I'm doing called for colors. All the called for colors. So pretty. So I've got a couple pomegranates. I need to get down to the Santa. But I have the pomegranates of the pomegranate Santa. I love this linen. So pretty. So pretty. That's pretty true right there. And then my last start in 2020 was another Barbara Anna. And this was another Nitka Moscow kit called Christmas Tree. So like this doesn't show the whole design, but it's the same idea as the Tree of Magic, just Christmas themed. And so I'm using all of the kit fabric and floss, which is DMC. And there is what I have on Christmas Tree. Just her little designs. They're just what she can do with just a handful of DMC colors. So whimsical, so fun. That is Christmas Tree by Barbara Anna. And that brings us to 2021. Yay! 2021, new year, new start. I started the famous, infamous, do I even have a cover page? I do. Pandemic. Pandemic by Long Dog. Did we all start this in 2020 and 2021? Who of you resisted? I did not. I did not resist. I am doing this on a 36 count linen. I think this is Winter's Moon, maybe. Winter's Moon, gray, some type of gray. I don't know. It's a stock Zweigart linen. I am stitching it in, I bought a hank of Mrs. Sadie silk in Darling Blue. And then I'm stitching the animals in black, Mrs. Sadie's black. And this is where I am on my pandemic. I love a cool gray fabric. Any gray fabric. Gray. Gray is the neutral. There it is. I love stitching on this. I love it, love it, love it. Someday this will be a 25/7 and I will eventually finish it. But in the meantime, I adore it. It's beautiful. The design is beautiful. The silks are beautiful. Pandemic by Long Dog. That will probably not be finished by my 50th birthday. I mean, maybe, probably not. That is not a quick stitch, but it is a fun and beautiful one. Okay. Oh, next up was Winter Chalk Talk, which I put away. I put it over there. It's on the same fabric as Autumn Chalk Talk. I have Winter. That's all I've got. You might have seen it then. I'm not going to go grab it. Winter Chalk Talk. I started, and so that will be the next one that I focus on. I probably won't start spring or summer until I finish winter. Okay, then I started Winter Stitching, which is a Barbara Anna design that was in the February 2021 Just Cross Stitch magazine. That's what the cover looks like. And this is the chart Winter Stitching by Barbara Anna Designs. There's a bunch of snowflakes in here, which I didn't think showed up on that lighter fabric. I went with a more bluish gray. This is Bestitch Me in Sleet. And I actually have pretty good progress on this. I did work on this year. It was, this would have been the next thing I focused on a finish for this month if I had gotten through Autumn Chalk Talk earlier, but winter stitching. So I have the whole border done. I just need to do, you know, the rest of the berries and the lady and the village, but winter stitching. And I'm using the called for, I think it's all the called for colors, which in a departure for Barbara Anna are overdyes. Normally her charts are DMC, but this is overdyed. I think I did switch out one of the colors for Victorian Motto I had in stash that I think was close, but yeah. So that is winter stitching. I think I'll probably do it in a big hoop finish just like that. Fun, fun. Whenever you find a Barbara Anna in a magazine, it's like a little gift. Okay, then I started Blackbird Designs, Oh Joyous Day. Oh, and this I think was the first big Blackbird Design sampler I started, and then completely understood the obsession with Blackbird Design samplers. I'm stitching it in called for colors. I'm pretty sure, yes, on boot camp. This is 36 count boot camp, and you're going to see how different this I think is. I think that other one I got maybe in a Friday night fight night and it was mislabeled. That's my only guess, because this is what boot camp does look like. And here's where I am. So that's boot camp. Oops. There we go. That's what boot camp does look like. And there is my progress on Oh Joyous Day. That bird is amazing. I mean, so good. You like how I peek around so I can see it too? Let's look at it together. Oh Joyous Day. This is on my WIP Go list. I would love to get this finished this year or next, 23, 24. This, I would love to have this be a finish. Just my tangled threads. It's fine. Beautiful. Totally understand the obsession with Blackbird Designs. They are amazing charts and super fun to stitch. I may have set my setup on top of a puzzle that my husband is working on. I just popped out a piece, but I put it back. It's okay. All right. The next thing I started in 2021 was a finish this year, or a finish for me. We'll call it a finish for me. And that is a waffle lot by Hands On Design. And here's my finish. I was going to do the whole mattress finish. See? It's on a white, a 32 count opalescent white. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it or not. I was going to do the whole mattress finish. I was using a limited edition. My red was a limited edition color and cotton called Cherry, which I love. And I did the whole border and I miscounted. I missed an extra stitch in the middle. And I didn't have enough cherry to redo it. And I decided, I was mad about it because I missed that extra stitch twice on the border up here and had to redo it. So it's now done. I'm going to do this as a little pillow finish for my husband, because he makes waffles on the weekends. He's a waffle guy. He likes waffles. And so I'm going to make this into a little pillow finish for Valentine's Day. Not that I think that he will care. I mean, he will. But there we go. Waffle lot. My finish for me. My next start was also a finish. This is going to be a round robin with some friends, and I think we haven't talked about it in a while, so I'm not sure if we're still doing that. But I finished. This is I Wish You Lived Next Door by Heartstring Samplery. Pretty sure it's Heartstring Samplery. I don't know. It's on my WIP. And it was just a total, I just pulled stuff from stash. I can't remember the linen. It was stash threads. But I love that funky turkey. Yes, this has got to be Heartstring Samplery. I wish you lived next door. So I'm going to find out if we're still exchanging these and fully finish it with some friends that I do actually really wish lived next door. Wish they lived next door. Okay. My next start was Pandemic Sampler by Sarcy Girl. Not confusing at all. Let me see if I have I must have a cover sheet. Cover photo? Cover photo. Here we go. 2020 Pandemic Sampler. This amazing chart by Sarcy Girl on Instagram. I'm sure you can still get this chart from her. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Go check her out. Go check her out because she designed this amazing, wonderful chart that I started. And this is on a Zweigart linen in dark cobblestone. And Mrs. Sadis did a conversion. I mean, these are her silks in that colorway. I think it was charted in DMC. Yes, it's charted in DMC. This is Mrs. Sadis's silk conversion. And it's just stunning. Stunning. There was a big stitch along for this at the time, if you remember, where everybody broke it into pieces. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do one piece a month and it'll be done in a year. And I did 1 month and started the next one. And that's all the further I got. But it is beautiful. I don't know where you can get good color. There it is. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I will get back to doing this eventually. I'm not sure this is on my WIP Go list for this year though. But I will get back to stitching this eventually. I love that dark linen. And that big white house is going to look amazing when I get around to stitching it. But I love that silk conversion, and I would not be surprised if you could still get that silk conversion. I love Mrs. Sadis silks though, so check her out. Okay. Then I started this chart, Garden Duet by Hands On Design. And it's like a seasonal set. So this is, I think, the spring. And it comes with a little wool felt to put on. And then, yes, this is the spring. And my idea at the time was I was going to start this on the, I think I started this on the first day of spring. And then I was going to start them on the first day of each season. And this was as far as I got, was starting first day of spring. But here's the other ones because they're all kitted, they're all together. This is summer harvest. Twice Blessed is the fall. I clearly have already picked fabric. And this is Winter Solstice, which was the first one that I had ever bought. And I didn't realize that they were like a series. So then I went and got the rest of them. I am doing this on, I'm doing a total conversion. This is a Be Stitch Me 32 count in honey. And I just pulled colors, gloss colors from my stash. Oh, look, I finished. I think I finished the first one this year. I think I did that this year. Or did I have this last year? I don't know. There's the first one of Garden Duet. So I still have this other one to do. And then all the rest of them. But there we go. There's Harmony. Pretty. I'll eventually do them all. Eventually. And do I need this huge piece of fabric for that? No. Maybe I'll pull that out and do the second one on the first day of spring, because I think they only take a day or two to stitch if I just sat down and did it. Let's see if I remember that come the first day of spring this year. Okay, next was Dreaming Girl, which breaks my heart, but it's a Barbara Anna that I UFO'd. when I pulled it out to work on it this year, I was like, you know what? I really don't see myself stitching all that hair, and I have so many Barbara Anna designs that I do want to stitch that I wasn't that far. I wasn't that far, and I UFO'd it. So there we go. This is Ink Circles, Half the Fun. One of her many amazing mandalas, but this one is travel, modes of travel. Getting there is half the fun. And that is certainly true for my husband. I am, full disclosure, a Patreon of Ink Circles, Tracy Horner. She has an amazing Patreon. She does a chart each month at a certain level and just lots of fun insight into her artistic process. And she occasionally sends her Patreons little packages. And one of the things she sent was this Carrie's Creation in sea green, which green is like my color. I love almost all the shades of green. And so I thought it would be fun to do her chart in this color. I am certainly hoping that I have enough. We will see. This is 36 count, so I'm doing it 1/2. And this is my roaring start on half the fun. Look at that. I have a plane and a motorcycle. Plane and a motorcycle. Woo! That's barely a start. I clearly have not touched this since. Clearly haven't touched it since. But I will. And this is Color and Cotton Prairie Dust. Color and Cotton Prairie Dust. I should either get back to this or actually maybe cut that fabric so that I have it. I have plenty of fabric in my stash. That can live there. Okay. What's up next? Ooh, next up is a finish. I think that this might have also been in a magazine. Might have been, I don't know. Check out the spreadsheet below, and if it was from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, it'll be in there. But I think it'll say on the spreadsheet, but I think that this is Easter Hair. Oh, hello, blown out. Oh, this is the problem with the ring light. Okay, this is on maybe a 32, a piece of linen in lilac. And this is Easter Hair. Here, is that good? That shows. Easter Hair, finished. So cute, but I didn't get it fully finished. When did I finish this? Oh, it's on the piece of paper I'm holding. Oh, I finished this in April, right around Easter, but clearly not early enough to fully finish it. Oh my goodness, y'all. I am so sorry about the light. There we go. Easter Hair. Animals and Dresses. Gotta love Barbara Anna's Animals and Dresses. I love them. You don't have to love them, but I love them. Okay. My next start in 2021 was, I believe, was this my first Hands Across the Sea? I'm pretty sure my first Hands Across the Sea sampler. Tom's Foolery. Oh my God, this chart is so amazing. Tom's Foolery, Hands Across the Sea. Just phenomenal. I am stitching this on 36 count Rocky Mountain. I don't know who the dyer is. I clearly got it from Teresa Vinette. What is her shop name? Why can't I think of her shop name right now? Y'all are screaming at me. So I'm not sure who the dyer is because she doesn't always put the dyer on the tag, but that's how I know it's from her because that's her tag. Rocky Mountain. It's almost like a white, but it just has a tiny little bit of gray modeling, which I wanted something that was not going to compete with these colors. So it's charted in Soie d'Alger silks, which I wasn't going to chart up. I hear that the Hands Across the Sea DMC conversions are really, really good. So I took the DMC conversion and then did a stash conversion to overdyes. So if you want that, let me know and I will take a picture of here. You can see my scribble. Here we go. Here's the thread legend and there's my chicken scratch. If you want the chicken scratch, let me know. I mean, I think some of these maybe are limited editions. Some of them are Victorian mottos that I don't know you can get your hands on anymore. But I really just sat down with my DMC thread card and my stash of flosses, and that's how I did it. But look at these colors. So good. I did work on this, I think, a little bit this year, but not much. It is on my WIP Go board this year, so it'll get some more love. But there it is so far in all of its colorful glory, starting that kidney tree. I can't wait to do the guy in his stripy long johns. This chart is amazing. Hands across the sea. So you can see there's a little bit of, it's not stark white, but there's not a lot of, it's just really lightly mottled gray. Perfect. Perfect for this chart. Here we go. That is that. How are we doing? Are we hanging in there? Doing okay? All right. And I believe yes, this was my first start for 2021 Mayhem. So if I had to finish the previous year, then I slotted in a new start. And if I hadn't finished the project from the previous year, then it got worked on each day. So each day I either worked on a WIP or had a new start, and Tom's Foolery was a start for 2021 Mayhem. The next start I had that year was for Get Me Not Sampler by Brenda Gervais. This was a club kit years and years ago, so I'm not sure if this chart is available or not. Acorns and Threads had some like that they found in a back room, and so I was able to snag it because I think it's like from 2013. Yeah, 2013. Club kit from 2013. I was not really stitching yet then, but it's just a sweet little sampler. Sweet little sampler. It came with fabric and all the called for threads, and then it instructed you to tea dye the linen, which I did, but I think because the linen was old and dry, it sucked up the tea. Like this was a couple minutes and it got really pretty dark, but that's okay. So it's super muted, but very, very pretty. It's just a pretty little sampler. Heaven forbid I should be able to finish this year. I hope. I don't know that this is on my WIP Go boards though. I double check. I'm going to double check because if it's not, I might move some stuff around and put this on it because I feel like this could be a finish. It's just a sweet little sampler. All right. Moving right along. Next page. Page turn. Okay. My next start that May was one of the French kitchen collections, and it was the last one that I needed to do, and it's a finish, and I even FFO'd it. So this is Blueberry and Thyme, part of the hands-on design Summer House Stitchworks. It was a collab. It was a club kit through Inspired Needle, but now you can get them all, and there's even a bonus chart that was released. But this is Blueberry and Thyme. They hang, my only switch is these were all supposed to be French knots, and I just did some beads because I just thought that would be fun. So they hang in my, right now I have Pear and Rosemary up, so this will go up in the summer. This is kind of the summer one. So Blueberry and Thyme. Not only a finish, but a fully finished, and look, I even laced it. Who am I sometimes? All right. My next start in Mayhem that year was Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs. And this is on Vintage Gray, I think is an R&R. And I'm using, I think all called for or close. Called for-ish. And there's my there is my progress on that. I got a day's worth of work in May, and that's it. But that's the full width. I mean, that's the full length. So I have the full length done. I don't think this is all the way across. I don't think that's all the way across, but it is the full length. So there we go. Strawberry Fields Forever. And this next one was also a Mayhem start. Oh, they're starting to fall over on me. This is a Bendy Stitchy Designs. I was so excited to start this. I love this chart. Love it. This is the Drama Llama sampler by Bendy Stitchy. And I am stitching this on the same fabric that I did Weatherwise, that Stormy Night Lugana. And I picked, this is charted in 2 colors. She charted it in the year it was released. I don't know when that was. These were the Pantone colors of the year. These 2 teals. And so I went with the 2021 colors of the year, which were a gray and yellow, because it was like coming out of the tunnel into the light was, you know, what Pantone said their inspiration was. And I loved that. So I'm doing mine in a gray and a yellow on this Stormy Night Lugana. And there it is. That's what I have so far. This border, so fun to stitch. So fun to stitch. It looks great. I'm not normally, I love gray. I'm not normally a yellow person, but I just love the reasoning behind it and of those colors of the year. And so I went with them. 2021 colors of the year. Next year, 2023 is magenta. Fantastic. I think I've already purchased yarn. I think from the Lemonade Shop in the color of the year. Okay. Next up is My Stitcher's Heart by Hands On Design. I've already stitched the strawberry. I haven't finished it yet. And then I started in 2021 the box top. So this is on, I think, Platinum linen by Zweigart with called for colors. I loved this whole collection. I think it was maybe a Nashville release. There was even like a matching needle minder that I got. But here is where I am on the box top. Hold on. There we go. There I am on the box top. You can see the strawberry stitch there. You can do all of the projects in the chart on a half yard of fabric. So that's what I bought. I don't think I'll do them all, but for sure these 2 I wanted to do. So that's where I am on the box top. Okay. I let the dog out on the last pause and he went in. So I'm going to pause you one more time. Let the dog in. I'll be right back. Okay. Back again. Water break. It's getting proper dark outside now. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I'm enjoying going through all of these with you again. Next up, in May of 21, I started Good Intentions by Kathy Barrick. Just, it says everything. I myself am made entirely of flaws stitched together with good intentions. We are all flawed, are we not? I am stitching this on a piece of Ligonier Latte in 36 count by R&R with I just pulled some of my favorite colors from Stash. And I love jewel tones, so I went with some jewel tones along with like a brown, gold. I had actually kitted this up for 2020 and never made a start on it. But I got a start on it in 21, and this is where I am so far. Oops. There we go. Bring it in so you can see. There we go. Such a fun, pretty chart. And this one, I feel like this could be a finish this year. I mean, there's still a lot of stitching to do though, but it's not that big. It's not that big. That's all the way across. So Good Intentions by Kathy Barrick. And then the next start, I have some small ones in here this year that I could potentially finish. This one is Mice in the Sewing Room by Brenda Gervais. I had stitched Plum Pudding that had these little mice. It's one of my favorite finishes. I get it out at Christmas time. And so I'm stitching this on the same fabric, which was an R&R, but I can't remember what color. But it's the same fabric that I stitched Plum Pudding on. I think it's mostly called for. I definitely subbed out the color of her dress, the mice's dress, because I didn't have that color, and so I'm using a color in cotton that is like, it's a no name. It doesn't even have a tag on it, a name tag on it. But here's where I am on Mice in the Sewing Room. So sweet. So this is pretty close to a finish. I think I might be able to finish this year in May. Because I'm not going to stitch, it has a little tape measure down here, but I have some cool trim that looks like a tape measure that I think I'm just gonna put on there and finish it when I do the finishing on it. So there is Mice in the Sewing Room. So sweet. I love her little mice. I think she's got more charts with the little mice. I don't know. Even though those are lady mice, they always remind me of the mice in Cinderella. Oh, Gus, so cute. Okay, this one is Antique Locks and Keys by Shakespeare's Peddler. Shakespeare's Peddler, Teresa's shop, and her design label. So this is Antique Locks and Keys, and I pulled like I picked 3 colors that I thought were good antique key colors. Gentle Art Verdigris, Gentle Art Espresso Bark, and Classic Colorworks Almost Auburn. So I thought those 3 look like old rusty keys. And I'm stitching this on, don't know what this is. No idea. I think it's a picture of this plus, but I don't know what color. And that's where I am. So this is another one that would not take more than a few days. Oh wait, there's a tag. Tycho. Picture this plus Tycho. And it's a 36 count. 1/2. Looks good. Looks really good. I love it. I had done Crosses of the Kingdom. Rosewood Manor has a big chart called Keys to the Kingdom. It's amazing. I don't know why I like old keys. I don't know why. I just do. Okay. And then my last one in May was, which one did I start? Fairy Garden. Blackbird Designs Fairy Garden. The previous year I had done Apple Orchard. And then I have 2 more of this Garden Club series that I want to do, Climbing the Trellis and Basket of Cherries. I already have the finishing piece these are going to go on. And because of the size of the finishing piece, it's like an old window frame. I'm stitching this on 28 count. I think it's platinum linen, so that they'll be a good size to put in there. So there's Apple Orchard that I had finished the previous year. And then I started Fairy Garden, but I haven't finished Fairy Garden yet. But I should finish up Fairy Garden this year, and then I can start the other 2. Yeah. So I count these all as individual finishes, but it's really one WIP in my head. Makes good sense, right? This is one WIP. These 4 charts are one WIP, but 4 finishes. See? That's good math. That's what that is. All right. My next WIP was Pride Tapestry by D's 20 Stitches. And I count it as a finish only because I decided that I was not going to stitch the whole chart. I love that chart. The Pride Tapestry. That unicorn is amazing. But then this year, in June, I decided that I was going to finish the motif that I had started on Pride Tapestry, and I was going to take that piece and turn it into a Pride spot sampler. So instead of finishing the whole piece, I did 2 motifs from Pride Tapestry, and then this year I stitched the from Darling and Whimsy's, the Pride Quirky Quaker. So they're on the same piece of fabric, so you're going to see them both now. This is a Fortnite fabric, 16 count Aida in the colorway Hue. And so here are the 2 motifs I did from the Pride Tapestry. And then this, it's hard for it to show up, but it's like an iridescent, there you can kind of, when I get it close to light, it shines. It's a Krynic. That's kind of like a white iridescent that I did the frame of the Quirky Quaker in, and then did the Pride flag center. So this is going to be my Pride spot sampler. So I think each year during Pride, I will pick either a small chart or a piece of a chart and add to it. And then this will be the little spot sampler. Fun, right? So there we go. So that is Pride Tapestry, a finish for me of Pride Tapestry. And then you also got to see my finish from this year of the Pride Quirky Quaker. Okay. Next up, this was a piece from the birthday event for Acorns and Thread. I think it was 20 years birthday. And they did a special birthday event, and Liz Matthews did a chart for it called Needle in Hand, with Needle in Hand and Joy in My Heart. And this is an exclusive, 25th anniversary. Oh, look, I shorted, Janine, I'm sorry, I shorted you 5 years. A pattern celebrating the 25th anniversary of Acorn and Threads. This is exclusive to Acorns and Threads, so you can get it there. Go to their website. They have an exclusives page, and you can order it there. But we got it as a full kit with all the called for everything. I think it's DMC. I think it's all DMC. Is it? Yep, all DMC. And I'm not sure. The fabric looks like a color of cotton, but I'm not sure. And here is my, I don't think I worked on this year. There it is. Little acorn border. Look at that acorn border and this little tricolor border. So fun. So fun. The trees are little thread spools. Just fantastic chart from Liz Matthews with Needle in Hand and Joy in My Heart. Go get yours from Acorns and Threads. Okay. Fantastic shop down in Portland. Love it. Okay. Next start was from the, you can see the bag. It was from the Gilmore Girls retreat from Black Needle Society. And it was the first retreat they did, which was Autumn in Stars Hollow. So they're doing 4 retreats for each season, and the patterns go together. So fall of 21 was Autumn, and then summer of 22 was Summer, and then this coming spring will get Spring. So they're full coverage charts. I started Autumn, then it's DMC and then some overdyes. I'm stitching this 25 count pre-gridded Lagana since it's full coverage, and I'm stitching it 2/1 10 stitch. And so here you're going to see both Autumn and Summer. So Autumn, I started going down this way. It says copper boom. And then when Summer came, I started here where it comes to autumn, and I worked my way across the top. And so this is the edge of the summer pattern. You can see that's the edge of the summer pattern, so that this spring I can start spring. So there we go. So that is both autumn and summer in Stars Hollow. One I started fall of 2021, and then summer I started this summer. So, and that's just a little strip of pre-gridded Lugana. And I have the rest of it, which I think is the right size for another Haid that I'm not starting until I finish Farewell to Anger. So maybe for my 60th birthday. Oh goodness. Okay. The next thing I started was, I don't have the full cover sheet, I don't think, because it was a mystery stitch along, Barbara Anna, of course, Barbara Anna, Witchy Dreams, and it was all blurred. So it was the Witchy Dreams Sal you can get through Creative Poppy, and now you can just buy the whole chart. I'm stitching this on Bronze Age by Be Stitch Me. It's a 32? Doesn't say. Must be a 32 because I'm stitching it 2/1. And this is as far as I got. I kept up through the first, I think it was only 4 parts, and I kept up through the first 2 and then pooped out. And this one, I almost UFO'd this year. We'll see, because I was really drawn in by this. This was like one of the sneak peeks, was this little like snake plant. But I don't know if I'm going to stitch the whole witch. We'll see. I clearly have kept it as a WIP, but there is a good possibility that I just cut out this amount of stitching and make, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it this year. I need to look and see how much stitching it really is. Okay, here's my, it's not an unpopular opinion, really. It's just, here's a little trap I fall into. I love Halloween stitches. I don't decorate my house for Halloween. I don't. I'm not a Halloween decorator, but I love Halloween stitches. So I tend to start them, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with it? I don't know, but I love them. And Barbara Anna, she'll get me every time. Okay, my next start was for Sampler September in 21, and that is the Blue Flower Huckleberry Farm. This chart, it's just so amazing. It's amazing, and I'm kind of a sucker for anything with bears because we have resident bears that live at the Watershed Preserve not far from us, and they wander up in our neighborhood. So twice, my little tiny dog, he's a short man who thinks he's very big, has treated a bear in our backyard. They're black bears, so they're not, they're not to be scared of, really, but I would rather he not try to chase them out of my yard. Okay, I had a false start on this, and I can't remember why, and I restarted it. This is, what is this fabric? It is July Fabric of the Month from Be Stitch Me. It's a 32 count, but I think I'm still stitching it 1/1 on this 32. Am I? Nope, I'm stitching it 2/1. I clearly didn't touch it this year. Here it is. Whoo, this needs some love. This fabric, color fabric, look at that. How perfect is that? Oh, come on, show the color. Oh, there we go. How perfect is this for Huckleberry Farm? This beautiful pinky purple lilac fabric. And there is my roaring start. That is sad. I love this piece though. I love this. I am going to stitch this. I'm going to stitch this. I think I maybe did this, some called for, some from stash, but look how good the colors are. Look how good the colors are. Okay. You know, sometimes in your head you think you have more stitched on a chart. I didn't think I had a lot. I thought I had a little more than that. Good heavens. Okay. All right. That's the end of that tote, but this next one's smaller, so I'm just going to go for it. We're just going to go for it. Let's figure out which side I need to pull from, though. Okay, that was Huckleberry Farm. All right, so next, we're back at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit again in 2021. And this was a little bonus chart that is also an exclusive design for Acorns and Threads. The designers that year were the incomparable Summerhouse Stitchworks, Ink Circles, and Hands On Design. So Kathy, Tracy, and Beth, they're dear friends, and it shows. They do a lot of collabs together, and they did the most amazing collab for Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit that I did not start that weekend, but I started this bonus chart that they did called Around My Friends. And this you can purchase from Acorns and Threads. So, but I don't think it's available any other way. And it used the same color scheme. So they each did one. And I started this one that year. And it used the same threads as the bigger project that they gave us. And there was, see, they gave us fabric to do the 3 of them. And this was my start at that. I was working mostly on Farewell to Anger that weekend because it was during marathon, but I wanted to start this, and I did put in 2021 because that was the year of the retreat. So I thought, even, you know, I didn't finish it, but mostly, I know mostly people put in the date they finish things, but I wanted to commemorate the year of that retreat. So this was my big start on Around My Friends. But I would like to finish all 3 of those. They also gave us like a finishing kit. We have everything, even like the backing fabrics that are now all wrinkled. I've got everything to do them. And I love these little, this is a very hands-on design, very Kathy design to do these circles, and I love them. And we also did the little pins were the make and take for the weekend. So we made the little pins even. I don't need to do them. Just need to stitch them. It was a beautiful, beautiful theme that year. Okay. Then I started the Philanthropic Pumpkin. This was a charity kit that Kathy at Hands On Design did. I think it was a fundraiser for Special Olympics. So it came with everything to finish it. And I even had the fabric, I think, but not the DMC, because it's DMC. So you just had to provide your own DMC. Look, even had a little thread drop. And this is, I mean, seriously, if I just sat down and stitched this, it would be done. There we go. I should finish this year in 2023. 2023, I should finish this. The only problem with my plans is that it has me working on all my large and medium projects. And the little small ones are kind of like, oh, fit them in other places. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Autumn is my favorite season, and you can tell because it's very hard for me not to start all the autumn charts. This was in the 2021 fall edition of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. Animal in a Dress from Barbara Anna. You have to. I have to. I have to stitch them. I can't stop myself from starting them. I am stitching this on, I think it's natural. I think it's just natural linen, but I don't know what count. 32 probably. Oh, word. Oh my word, I totally thought that I would have like part of her dress stitched. This is my start. I clearly didn't get back to this year. Oh, her poor head without even an eye in it. Oh no. This is not terribly big. Okay. That's just, I'm embarrassed for me. Okay. That is Autumn Squirrel by Barbara Anna from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. Fantastic magazine. Oh. I wonder what that came out of. Little note to myself on a conversion. We'll figure out where that belongs. Okay. All right. This next start, I started with my friend Alicia. It was a freebie from Owl Forest Embroidery. Like, seriously, this chart was free. It probably still is. It's called Pumpkin Color Autumn. I mean, foxes, squirrels, and pumpkins. Yes, please. Yes, please. So I started this on Color and Cotton, 36 count warm sienna. And I think that this is, it's probably charted in their threads, is my guess. Let me look. Yes, it's charted in their threads with a DMC conversion, and I clearly just pulled from Stash to match the DMC conversion. So there's the threads I pulled. They'll be listed in the spreadsheet below, so you can go see exactly. And I started this in 2021. I did not pick it up again this year. There is my start. There's my start. Wow. This is a great chart though, and it's free. This whole big chart with the beautiful pumpkins. I will stitch all the pumpkins. All the pumpkins I will stitch. So there's my roaring start on Pumpkin Colored Autumn. I wonder if that's on my WIP board for this year. Feels like it would be. Maybe. Guess we'll see as the year progresses. I seriously don't even remember what I put on there. Okay. Next is a Blackbird design. I started this on Thanksgiving of 2021, Feast of Friendship. I purchased this in July at Stitcher's Paradise. I was in Las Vegas for my daughter's dance national competition, and I went to Stitcher's Paradise, and it was right when Barb died. Barb passed away. So I kitted up a Blackbird. That's what happens when you lose a great designer in the cross stitch industry, is you kit up a project. And say some blessings for them. And this is my start. It's a fabulous, what is this fabric? It's fantastic. Be Stitch Me. Of course it's Be Stitch Me. It's it says club exclusive scroll. So I don't know if this is available now. It's 32 count scroll. This up here is not anywhere else. So it's up in the margin. It's not going to show that little like purple, but it's a beautiful piece of fabric. And that is my start on Feast of Friendship. I didn't get back to this year. I really wanted to. I love that blue house. And it's kind of patchworky. It's in several different colors. Just fantastic. Okay. And next up is a chart that I started with my friend Nancy for her birthday. She's much farther than me, I'm sure. It is With I Needle and Thread, Winter Rose Manor. She just mentioned she was going to start this with her for her birthday, and if I've got the chart and I want to stitch it, I will start it with you. I will start just about anything. So we started this last year. As soon as I finished, we started it on the 29th, I think 29th last year. And as soon as I finish Autumn Chalk Talk tonight, I'm pulling this out and stitching it for the rest of the year. This is on R&R vintage, can't read the handwriting. Vintage homespun. I think it says vintage homespun. And with, I think, mostly called for colors. I feel like I switched out a few things. It'll be listed in the spreadsheet below, because I think I subbed out a few colors. But there's my start from last year on Winter Rose Manor. I'm so excited to get back to stitching on this. It's a beautiful piece. Love the birds on it. Love the birds, love the colors. Winter Rose Manor. And that was it for 2021. Whew, y'all, we're close. It's been a while. Look, my WIP parades are shorter than Avatar. It's all good. We also binge watched, my husband and I did, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, all of the director's cuts of Lord of the Rings. So I feel like if I'm coming in under Peter Jackson and James Cameron, we're fine. All right. So my New Year New Start in 2022 was After the Rain by Liz Matthews, and I finished it this year. So I did, this is After the Rain. I knew that this was not going to come, the color wasn't going to show. This is on Artemis, 32 count linen in Artemis by Be Stitch Me. I used Almond M&M's silk pack that she did specifically for this chart, After the Rain. And I did like 1 or 2 rainbows a month and got it done in the year. But let me see if I can get it. Oh, it's just, oh, that's close. They're fantastic colors. It looks beautiful in person. You're just going to have to trust me. It's a lighter palette than I would normally do, but I just love her silks. So, Almond M&M silk pack. And After the Rain, I'm going to get that. I just finished it at the beginning of the month. And so I need to get like a 10 by 10 frame. And that's going to get framed and put up on my wall here very, very soon. My next start was We Live in Hope. Michelle, at the beginning of the year, had like a start WIP Go board that she plugged people in to pick starts for her, and I got to pick her January start. And I feel very lucky that I got to pick a January start, because I'm not sure how long she did the WIP Go starts. I don't know. But I chose We Live in Hope because I had the chart and wanted to start it, and it had actually been gifted to both of us by a dear friend. So I said, let's start We Live in Hope. That's what I picked. She had a kitted project list, I think. I think she had a list of kitted projects that we could choose from. And I chose We Live in Hope, and we started it together. If you watch her, you'll see we recharted the, I say we, in that I wanted to change the alphabet to a Desmond Tutu quote. Because he had recently passed away, and because she's an amazing designer, I said, I think I'm going to do this. What do you think about this? How does this look? And she said, hold on. let the professional take it from here. And she did a beautiful job recharting the alphabet into this Desmond Tutu quote. And I think she's got so much of this finished. She went ham. Michelle went ham on this for a while. Go check hers out because it's much more finished and beautiful than mine is at the moment. But I'm doing mine on a 36 count linen from Color and Cotton in Pearwood with, I think, mostly called for colors. I definitely subbed a few because there's some like Victorian motto in there. But I think it's close. I think I just pulled from stash it's very similar. It's very similar. And so this is where I am. This is on my WIP Go board. I would like to get a lot more progress on this year. I'm fighting with the tag. of linen. There we go. There is where I am. Check out Michelle's Instagram and you'll see much more of this chart done. But we will, I mean, I will finish it. I love this. I love this chart. So there's We Live in Hope. That's going to get some love this year. I will be back for you, my friend. Next up was Acorn Gathering at Acorn and Threads. And this year's Acorn Gathering chart was by Witchy Stitches, I believe. It was called All About the Acorn. And this is the finish for me. I did do some adjustment. There was another border up here that I'm going to finish it in my journal. And it's going to finish like this. So that's a finish for me. Oh, there we go. There's that cute little squirrel. He grabbed an acorn and fell out of the tree, and he's holding onto the acorn for his life. Isn't he adorable? He's adorable. So there we go. All About the Acorn by Witchy Stitches. And so it's missing like a top and bottom border. I think that had some leaves and an acorn in it, but I just decided it was done. I thought he was cute just as is. So there we go. That is my finish from Acorn Gathering. And then on 2/22/22, it was a date that felt like it needed a start. It felt like it needed a special start. So I started the project from the previous Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. And it's called Seeds of Friendship. It's 3 projects because I told you about the lovely designers. There's 3 projects. There's a book from Ink Circles, and then a basket from Hands On Design, and then in the basket fits this little ball project from Summer House Stitch Works. And like we got all the finishing things and step-by-step finishing instructions to do all of the things. I started the book. It takes a big piece of fabric, and luckily I had a big piece of fabric in this. It's graham cracker fabrics, which you can get at Shakespeare's Peddler. This is tea set. It is just beautiful. I think did I get a full yard? I think I have a full yard of this. So I'm going to use it for this amazing set of projects. See, look at this. That's what they call a Portland cut at Acorns and Threads. And here is my amazing start for February 22nd. There we go. That is this tree on the book. So since I'm not using this red called for fabric, I had to adjust some of the colors a little bit, but it's fine. I'm adjusting some of the color. I'm using all the called for colors. I'm just putting them in different places. So that is my just blazing start on this huge project that someday I'll finish all of that. It'll be fun. It's going to be a fun project to stitch though. And I felt like it was a good thing to start on the 22nd. Okay. My next start was also a finish this year. This is Leaves and Snails by Stitchy Princess Black. I started this right at the beginning of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And so this was the kind of stand with Ukraine style. Stitchy Princess is a Ukrainian designer. You can get her amazing designs on Etsy. I purchased quite a few of them because they're so good. They're so good, but this is the one I stitched up. I think that this was a color and cotton grab bag Ada, and I just did a sulky conversion. But look at how good those little snails are. So this is Snails and Leaves by Stitchy Princess. She has a lot of amazing charts. Go check her out if you haven't already. Okay. Then it was March, which is my birthday month. Along with some friends, we all have birthdays, and we decided to stitch a bunch of quirky Quakers for our birthdays. So we each picked one, and I stitched one on each of our birthdays. I'm doing a big quirky Quaker sampler. So I'm stitching a bunch of them together on one piece of fabric. I think this is a piece of R&R. I'm not really sure what color it is. So I stitched Quirky Quaker Owl, Sasquatch, and Nessie on this piece. I already had the puffin done, but here are Quirky Quaker Sasquatch, Owl, and Nessie. Aren't they amazing? There are so many of these Quirky Quakers that I want to stitch. I'm not sure that this piece of fabric is going to be big enough to do all of them. And I think that Deanna, Darling and Whimsy Designs, so these Quirky Quakers are by Darling and Whimsy Designs, and go follow her on Instagram because it might be linked in her bio somewhere. She has a spreadsheet. So you, and I, you know I love a spreadsheet. Somewhere she has a spreadsheet so you can keep track. Make sure you have them all. They're all so good. She released a bunch for Christmas. There was a squirrel this year that was released. There's so many. They're so good. But there are the Owl, Sasquatch, and Nessie. And what I love about them is that she does give you colors, but also says, pick out whatever you want. And so they're the best charts to just pull some flosses from stash. They're a perfect little start and finish. You can stitch these in a day or two. If you just feel like, I just want to stitch something quick. I want a quick stitch. Quick, but oh so satisfying stitches. Quirky Quakers. So those were 3 starts and finishes in March. And then April 1st, I started Spring Awakens with my friend Stephanie at Kate's Crafts. Spring Awakens. I had bought Winter Cometh a while ago and really wanted to start it. And then I think that was maybe meant to be a standalone chart. I'm not really sure. But now this year she came out with the other 3 seasons. So Spring Awakens, Summer Refreshes. Can't remember what the autumn one is. But this is Spring Awakens. Instead of doing it in the called for colors, I picked out like a green fade. So that's, I picked out 3 greens and I'm going to fade them from dark to light, outside in. So it'll be like dark, lighter, lightest. Does that make sense? It would make a lot of sense if I had more stitched. This is Color and Cotton Moonstone linen, 36 count. I have like the first like band done. So here's like the darkest color. And then the next, so that's this like this blue band. And so then this color will be, so this dark is Fibrelicious Granny Smith. And then my next lighter color is going to be Spring Grass. So Spring Grass will be next. And then the middle is Color and Cotton Chartreuse. Chartreuse. So see? I hope that makes sense. I'm going to do that. But here's my 3 greens. So there's 3 greens on the blue fabric. And it just feels like Spring Awakens to me. And then I'll do the other 3 the same, where I'll pick a color and do a fade. Summer, I think, might be like, I don't know, it might be a blue. No, winter's going to be a blue. Winter might be a gray. We'll see. I clearly haven't gotten that far because this is all I have on spring. Spring Awakens. We'll work on these one at a time. We'll work on them one at a time. But great chart, fun series. Can you tell I'm a sucker for a series? I do. I love a series. Okay. Then my next start and finish was a gift for a friend. And I thought I had a picture of it and I don't. So I stitched Dreaming Queen Bee, which I believe was in the maybe either spring or summer Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. It was a Barbara Anna, part of her Dreaming series, Dreaming Queen Bee. I can't believe I didn't take a picture of that before I sent it off. Sent it off to my friend. But there you go. I did stitch it, I promise. Pinky promise. Pinky promise I stitched that. And then we come back to May. And I had a few starts for Mayhem this year. Not many. It was almost all WIPs. But I did start Coffee First by Brenda Gervais. Because coffee. And I am stitching this on Coconut Shell by Be Stitch Me. 36 count coconut shell. And I did a bit of a conversion. I'm using this flower silk for several colors, like I'm fussy cutting it for several colors. And then this was a conversion. It's on my list, but this was definitely like, there's some color and cotton in here. Oh, quite a bit of color and cotton. There's a Fiberlicious, there's a Threadworks, a bunch of color and cotton, and a flower silk. But it's similar. It's a similar vibe to what's on the chart. And this is sideways. So there we go. So I've got the cup and some of the tree, the little cup. So I need her, and then that's just a lot of white. It's a big white mug. But I love this fabric, this coconut shell. How good of a color is that? That's perfect. That's right on. And then there's the stitching. So these little espresso beans, that was the flower silk. Like I was cutting out the darkest color of the flower silk. And then I'm going to use the lighter color in other places. I think for her hair. So that's Coffee First. I do like to convert things from stash if it's not a ton of colors. I was in 3 Owl Threads Nest Egg for a couple years of Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. So I now have a full set of Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. And Leanne 3 Owl Threads Nest Egg is, she's so good. She's so good. You have to sign up for her nest egg, I think through her Facebook group, 3 Owl Threads. But it was fantastic. It was the best way to get a base set of both of those. And so it's really easy for me to kit things up now. But then I also have, you know, some color and cotton and some flower silks and some Mrs. Sadis, some Be Stitch Me silk, some other threads as well. So I do like to just kit up from my stash when I can. But it's also very easy for me to kit things up now after a couple years in those clubs. And to me, it was just a great way. Like it's a good deal, even with shipping, and she goes through the alphabet. So you jump in wherever she is. Like if you start this month, you might be in G, but then when you come back around to G, then you know that you have them all. Which is amazing. Okay. My next spot in May. That was a little commercial. I guess for 3 Owl Threads. But I really do love having all of the Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts. They're some of my favorite overdyes. And that it's a great thread club if you're looking for one. All right. So my next start was Things Unseen. I think this I also purchased like years ago on Stash and Load, all kitted up with like all the buttons and everything. So maybe not fabric. I think it had all the threads and beads and charts, but not fabric. So I picked Not Another Sampler, 32 count by Be Stitch Me, and I'm using all of the called for threads that were in it when I purchased it. And this was my start in May. I do just sometimes love a Lizzie Kate. They're just fun little charts. And I just like this little saying. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched, but must be felt with the heart. It's just pretty. Sometimes it's the reason you stitch things, because they're pretty. All right. You saw the Quirky Quaker Pride flag. And then when I UFO'd Quaker Geometric Puzzle, I decided that meant I could start another Big Ink Circles mandala. And I had this kitted up for a while. It's smaller than Quaker Geometric Puzzle, and it just felt like the right thing to do. So I started After the Roses. Look how gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I'm stitching this on Color and Cotton Swiss Coffee with all the called for colors. And this was my start on After the Roses. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So pretty. So that was a just because I wanted to start. And then I started Hands Across the Sea. It's a smaller one. Is it a little gem? It might be. Let me look. Yes, it's a little gem chart from Hands Across the Sea, Sarah Spencer, 1870. And some friends and I just decided we were going to start this and stitch it together. And so we did. We started it, and I am stitching it on Color and Cotton Tuscan. And I think that I changed up the colors a little bit. I think I punched them up and changed them more to pinks than reds. This is definitely my own conversion. There's some Fiberlicious, some Classic Colorworks, Color and Cotton, Gentle Arts. It's in the same feel as what's charted, but more pink mulberry, where I think theirs is more burgundy red. So there's my threads, and this is my start on it, on the border. I'm just working on border right now. I'll probably come in and start the middle here pretty soon. But these flowers are really fun to stitch. It's gonna be really pretty. So that is Sarah Spencer, 1870. And I started this with a group of friends, and I might be taking this to a couple retreats in the next year and having them stitch a little bit on it for me. I kind of have an idea that since I started this with, started along with some friends, that it might become kind of a retreat piece where I have people stitch on it a little bit at retreats. So all my friends have stitched on it. And then I might change out the name for maybe a quote about friends or something. We'll see. And I started Summer at Stars Hollow, which you've seen. And then my friend Stephanie and I at Kate's Crafts decided we were going to start Woodland Wonder together. I can't remember why. Sometimes that's how it goes. You're chatting with friends and you decide to start things. We both had it. I had it all kitted up. So we started Woodland Wonder in the middle of June. Did we start this in June? Yes, we started this in June. A Christmas piece, just because. And this is on Mocha from Be Stitch Me, 32 count Mocha. That was the August 2020 fabric of the month. And this is my rip-roaring start on the border. And when we started that day. That's it. That's my start. I'm convinced this is going to stitch up quick. I got all the beads and everything, I'm pretty sure, from Garon Stitchery. Because it was like a pack with all the Krynics and beads. So I've got all the things ready to go. Woodland Wonder. I feel like this might be on one of my WIP Go boards. So we'll see. It's a fantastic piece. Glendon Place. All right. Then I started for a season of smalls. At Expo, there were a bunch of designers that did the Autumn Garden Sal using the same palette of Cottage Garden threads. I may have bought a few too many of those charts. Who's to say what's too many? But they were all so good. They were all so good. And I love the color palette and I love autumn. I bought a bunch of them. I started and finished this one, Gourd Vibes. I can't remember who it's by. And I don't, it'll say on my thing, but here it is. It was a set of two. It was two charts together. Gourd Vibes Only and Shiitake Happens, like shiitake mushrooms. So that's going to go on this side here. And this was a special linen from that Autumn Garden collection too. Nikki's Creation. I can't remember who dyed the linen. It came with some trim. I'm a wealth of knowledge. I don't think you can get them anymore anyway. But this is from Autumn Garden Sal, Gourd Vibes Only. So that was a start and finish on that chart. So that was another finish. And then back around to Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit again. And one of the charts that we received, the amazing designers this year were Stephanie from Lindy Stitches and Janine from the Blue Flower. I mean, what a wealth of talent. Just an amazing weekend with them. This was the chart that Janine did for the weekend, Forest Home by the Blue Flower. And this was the one I started. We also got a fantastic, amazing chart, something about beach, from Lindy Stitches that I am definitely going to stitch for my in-laws who live in Florida. But I love this one. This is everything Pacific Northwest. This, I think, is Mount Hood in Oregon. I'm going to just change the shape of it a little bit to make it Mount St. Helens here in Washington. So it came all kitted up. So this is all called for. You can't get this chart yet, but I'm sure you will be able to next fall. I'm sure she'll release it. Well, I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to it. Don't hold her to it, but I would think. This says it's stitched on 40 count Ghostly Shadows linen from XJU Designs. Is this 40? Might be. Maybe 36? I don't know. It's beautiful. Look at the screen. And there is my amazing start from the weekend. See, we got a needle minder that matches. I love all the matching things. But there's my start on Forest Home. Like, I haven't even bobbinated all the threads yet. Blue Flower, amazing. But I like to at least start one of the charts at the retreat so that, because otherwise I feel like they'll go into stash and it'll be years before I pull them back out again. So now it's a WIP. Really, what's that much of a difference between a kitted project and a WIP? Okay. Then in November, I stitched a piece for my parents. I stitched them a little Christmas something every year for Christmas. Not every year, but I have the past like 4 years, so it's a tradition now. And I stitched one of the Christmas Cheer Pin Pillows by Jeanette Douglas. It was in a set from Evertotes in Christmas of December of 2021. So it came as part of like a bag with the Roxy Floss Co. flosses that went with it. I don't know if you can get that chart now. It's called Christmas Cheer Pin Pillows. Yes, Christmas Cheer Pin Pillows by Jeanette Douglas. It's a set of like 5 little pin pillows. They're really pretty. I did the Noel one for my parents, and I will put a picture of the finished object here. Came out so sweet. And that one I remembered to take a picture of apparently. So that went off to them, all fully finished, me fully finishing things. And so that went off to them. I also stitched a piece for my oldest daughter for Christmas this was the first year that all the girls got something handmade by me. They seem to really love it, but I also wonder if in the back of their minds they're like, oh, here it comes. This is now the year we get a handmade item from mom. Now every year. Because they're probably right. They're probably going to get something handmade for me every year. The other two got knit items. Sarah, I had just given her recently a knit item, so I did a stitched piece for her because when I saw this last year, I think last year, this is by the Blue Flower. It's Sarah all over. And since she hasn't gone back to school yet, I still have the finished object. So this is Cozy Christmas Cat by the Blue Flower, and I'm pretty sure I used All Called For. I think I might have changed the cat to Black Coffee. I'm not really sure, but that's Cozy Christmas Cat, and I just did it like a hanging flat fold, so she could just hang it up, you know, in her house. Or I mean, it's a little large for an ornament, but you could absolutely put it on the tree. And I just backed it with some quilting fabric and trimmed it in some black chenille. Cozy Christmas Cat. So that was a start and finish this year as well. And then my last WIP. Can you believe we made it? Last one. Last WIP. I restarted on Christmas Eve. This was a restart for me from years ago. And I don't have a cover photo. I can't find one anywhere. If I find one, I will stick it here. This is a piece by Ship's Manor called Merry and Bright, and it was a mystery stitch along, I think years ago. I'm not even sure when. And I had seen, I think Brian Blitzstitch stitched it years ago, and I saw him stitch it, and I loved it. So this is by Ship's Manor, and Ship's Manor does fabric and flosses as well. So there's a floss pack that's like their colors for this piece. And I had ordered them back in 2018, 2019, and had started this piece on the called for linen, I think. And it's really, 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 really dark navy linen. And I just couldn't. I tried. I started it. I tried to work on it again the next year, and I just couldn't with that linen. Couldn't. And so I decided that I still really wanted to stitch the piece. So I had Brandy at Be Stitch Me custom dye me a dark navy Aida, because for some reason I can stitch on dark Aida no problem, but the linen that I was using, and I can't remember what it was, I couldn't, even with all the tricks, the light, the thing on your lap, I couldn't do it. So I finally got around to restarting this piece this year on my custom dyed Aida. I think this is 18 count. I'm stitching one with one strand, and there is my start on my restart on Merry and Bright. It's just a great Christmas sampler, but I love it because it's kind of non-traditional colors. They're really fun. Some of these, like, which is this Lose Lolly? Oh, this is Yuletide Treasure. Like, look at that. They're really different. Some of them are highly variegated, and I just think it looks great on this dark fabric. So this was a custom dye dark navy from Be Stitch Me. So finally restarted. So that's it. That's all of them. And I can't remember how many it is. If I actually do the math, I'll put it down below. Like, I'll put it in some text down below of how many WIPs I have now. But you got to see all the WIPs and all of the finishes from this year. So fun. I am definitely going to be whipping down again this coming year. And so thank you so much for coming. This was really fun. It was really fun to, I guess, kind of see all of you and be seen again. And thank you for sticking with me and looking at all of my projects. I know there's a lot of them, and it's way too many for some people, but and I'm not whipping down because I think that it's too many projects. I just am going to whip down just because I sometimes like a challenge. Like, sometimes it's just fun to set a goal, and especially around like a momentous like life marker. And so I just thought it would be fun. I thought it'd be fun to say, hey, let's see if we can get down to 50 WIPs for my 50th and then start 50 things. Right? That's nutty. I realize that all of it is too much for some people, but I have fun with it. I have fun stitching. I've been knitting a lot this year, and I've been really enjoying that too. So thank you for coming along with this ride, and maybe I'll see you around. Come follow me on Instagram. I'm really gonna try hard to actually post to Instagram this year. I might do some like progress vlogs and post them. We'll see. I have found for me, um, too much interaction with social media is not good for my mental health. However, we're gonna ease back in and see if it's a catch-22 a little bit, because I love interacting with this community. It's the most amazing community, and I have met some of my closest, most cherished friends some of whom I've gotten to meet in real life, but not all of them, through social media. But it also sometimes messes with my head a little bit. So we're going to see if this year I can find a good balance. So hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are finding a good balance of all the things in life for you. And I will see you soon. Happy New Year. Bye.